Picture this, you're watching your favorite film when suddenly the genius behind the camera steps into the frame. These directors didn't just tell stories from behind the lens, they lived them on screen. Today we bring you 30 famous directors who appeared in their own movies. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel so that you won't miss a thing. At number 30, Danny DeVito. Films he directed and acted in: The War of the Roses 1989, Hoffa 1992, Matilda 1996, Death to Smoochy 2002. In Matilda, DeVito played the despicable Harry Wormhood, Matilda's con artist father who sells faulty cars and can't comprehend his daughter's genius. In The War of the Roses, he starred as divorce attorney Gavin D'Amato, narrating the darkly comic tale of a marriage gone violently wrong. In Hoffa, he appeared as Bobby Sirro alongside Jack Nicholson. Now, at 80, DeVito remains active in Hollywood, recently appearing in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and various film projects. He continues to balance acting and producing through his company Jersey Films. At number 29, Jon Favreau. Films he directed and acted in: Made 2001, Elf 2003, Iron Man 2008, Iron Man 2 2010, Chef 2014. Favreau made dual cameos in Elf, as both a doctor and an elf. In his passion project Chef, he starred as Carl Casper, a talented chef who loses his restaurant job and starts a food truck. The film became a love letter to food and creativity. In the Marvel films, he played Happy Hogan, Tony Stark's loyal bodyguard and friend. Now, at 58, Favreau is a Hollywood titan. He created The Mandalorian, revolutionizing Star Wars on television, and continues developing major projects across Disney and Marvel while pioneering virtual production technology. At number 28, Bradley Cooper. Films he directed and acted in: A Star is Born 2018, Maestro 2023. Cooper starred as Jackson Maine in A Star is Born, a country rock musician battling addiction who discovers and falls in love with struggling artist Ally. His raw, vulnerable performance earned him an Oscar nomination. In Maestro, he portrayed legendary conductor Leonard Bernstein in a biographical drama he also directed. Now, at 50, Cooper has established himself as a serious filmmaker. A Star is Born earned 8 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture and Best Actor, while Maestro cemented his reputation as an actor-director with transformative range. At number 27, John Krasinski. Films he directed and acted in: Brief Interviews with Hideous Men 2009, A Quiet Place 2018, A Quiet Place Part 2 2020, If 2024. Krasinski starred alongside real-life wife Emily Blunt in A Quiet Place as Lee Abbott, a father protecting his family in a post-apocalyptic world where monsters hunt by sound. He reprised the role in the sequel through flashbacks. In If, he played a man who can see imaginary friends. Now, at 45, Krasinski transformed into a blockbuster director star. A Quiet Place earned over $340 million worldwide and revolutionized the horror genre with its silent tension, establishing him as a major filmmaking force. At number 26, Angelina Jolie. Films she directed and acted in: By the Sea 2015. Jolie starred opposite her then-husband Brad Pitt as Vanessa, one half of a troubled American couple staying at a French seaside resort in the 1970s. The intimate drama explored a crumbling marriage with devastating honesty. Now, at 49, Jolie continues directing and acting selectively. She recently starred in Maria 2024 as opera legend Maria Callas and remains one of Hollywood's most influential figures, balancing her film career with extensive humanitarian work as a UN special envoy. At number 25, Kevin Costner. Films he directed and acted in: Dances with Wolves 1990, The Postman 1997, Open Range 2003, Horizon, An American Saga 2024. Costner starred as LT John Dunbar in Dances with Wolves, a Union Army officer who befriends a Lakota Sioux tribe during the Civil War. The epic Western won 7 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director. In The Postman, he played a drifter in post-apocalyptic America. In Open Range, he was Charlie Waite, a cowboy seeking justice. Now, at 69, Costner recently self-financed his ambitious Horizon saga, a multi-film Western epic. He also stars in the hit series Yellowstone, proving his enduring appeal and commitment to the Western genre. At number 24, Tyler Perry. Films he directed and acted in. The entire Madea franchise 2005-2019, including Diary of a Mad Black Woman, Madea Goes to Jail, A Madea Christmas, and 10 more films. Tyler Perry created and portrayed Mabel Madea Simmons, a tough, gun-toting elderly woman who dispenses wisdom and justice with equal parts humor and heart. The character became a cultural phenomenon. Now, at 55, Perry is a billionaire media mogul who owns Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, one of the largest production facilities in the country. He continues producing films and television series while expanding his business empire, recently ending the Madea character but creating new content across multiple platforms. At number 23, Ben Stiller. Films he directed and acted in: Reality Bites 1994, The Cable Guy 1996, Zoolander 2001, Tropic Thunder 2008, Zoolander 2, 2016. Stiller starred as Derek Zoolander, the ridiculously good-looking but dim-witted male model in both Zoolander films. In Tropic Thunder, he played Tug Speedman, an action star trying to prove his dramatic chops in a Vietnam War film. In The Cable Guy, he directed Jim Carrey's darkest comedy. Now, at 59, Stiller has pivoted more toward directing prestige television, helming episodes of Severance and Escape at Dannemora. He continues acting selectively while focusing on sophisticated directorial projects that showcase his evolved artistic sensibilities. At number 22, Barbra Streisand. Films she directed and acted in: Yentl 1983, The Prince of Tides 1991, The Mirror Has Two Faces 1996. Streisand starred as Yentl, a Jewish girl in early 1900s Poland who disguises herself as a boy to study the Talmud. In The Mirror Has Two Faces, she played Rose Morgan, a Columbia University literature professor seeking love. In The Prince of Tides, she was Dr. Susan Lowenstein, a psychiatrist helping a troubled man. Now, at 82, Streisand has largely retired from filmmaking but remains active in music and political activism. Her 2023 memoir My Name is Barbara topped bestseller lists, reminding the world of her extraordinary career breaking barriers for women in entertainment. At number 21, Mel Brooks. Films he directed and acted in: The 12 Chairs 1970, Blazing Saddles 1974, Silent Movie 1976, High Anxiety 1977, History of the World Part I 1981, Spaceballs 1987, Robin Hood, Men in Tights 1993, Dracula, Dead and Loving It 1995. Brooks played multiple roles across his films, including Governor William J. Lepetamain in Blazing Saddles, Mel Funn in Silent Movie, Dr. Richard Thorndike in High Anxiety, Comicus and King Louis XVI in History of the World, President Scroob and Yogurt in Spaceballs, and King Louis XVI in Robin Hood, Men in Tights. Now, at an incredible 98 years old, Brooks is one of the last surviving comedy pioneers from Hollywood's golden age. He remains sharp, occasionally making public appearances, and is one of only 18 people to achieve EGOT status: Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. His films continue influencing new generations of comedians. At number 20, Rob Reiner. Films he directed and acted in: This Is Spinal Tap 1984, where he also appears as documentary filmmaker Marty Die Berge. Reiner played Marty Die Berge, the earnest documentarian following the fictional British rock band Spinal Tap on their disastrous American tour. His deadpan interviewer persona perfectly complemented the mockumentary's improvisational genius. Now, at 77, Reiner continues directing occasionally while remaining politically active. His string of classics from the 1980s and 90s, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Stand By Me, A Few Good Men, remain beloved, though his recent work hasn't matched that golden era. At number 19, Sylvester Stallone. Films he directed and acted in: Paradise Alley 1978, Rocky II 1979, Rocky III 1982, Rocky IV 1985, Rambo II 1985, Rocky Balboa 2006, The Expendables 2010, The Expendables 2 2012, The Expendables 3 2014, Creed II 2018, credited as co-director. Stallone starred as Rocky Balboa. Across multiple films he directed, the Italian stallion boxer who became an American icon. He also played John Rambo and Barney Ross in the Expendables franchise, directing himself in intense action sequences. Now, at 78, Stallone continues acting in major projects, recently starring in Tulsa King on Paramount Plus, and appearing in The Expendables 4, 2023. He passed the Rocky directing torch to younger filmmakers but remains involved in the franchise's evolution. At number 18, Kenneth Branagh. Films he directed and acted in: Henry V. 1989, Dead Again 1991, Peter's Friends 1992, Much Ado About Nothing 1993, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein 1994, In the Bleak Midwinter 1995, Hamlet 1996, Love's Labour's Lost 2000, As You Like It 2006, Murder on the Orient Express 2017, Death on the Nile 2022, A Haunting in Venice 2023. Branagh played Henry V, Hamlet, Victor Frankenstein, and Hercule Poirot across his directorial work. His 4-hour uncut Hamlet remains the definitive filmed version of Shakespeare's complete text. As Poirot, he brought new gravitas to Agatha Christie's Belgian detective across 3 films. Now, at 64, Branagh is one of cinema's most respected figures, having earned Oscar nominations in 7 different categories. He continues his Poirot series while developing new projects, proving that Shakespearean training creates filmmaking excellence. At number 17, Orson Welles. Films he directed and acted in: Citizen Kane 1941, The Magnificent Ambersons 1942, The Stranger 1946, The Lady from Shanghai 1947, Macbeth 1948, Othello 1952, Mr. Arkadin 1955, Touch of Evil 1958, The Trial 1962, Chimes at Midnight 1965, The Immortal Story 1968, F for Fake 1973. Welles directed and starred in Citizen Kane at age 25 as Charles Foster Kane, aging from young idealist to bitter old man. He played Othello, Macbeth, Falstaff in Chimes at Midnight, and corrupt police detective Hank Quinlan in Touch of Evil. Despite creating Citizen Kane, considered the greatest film ever made, Hollywood never forgave Welles for his genius and independence. He spent decades struggling to finance projects. He died of a heart attack in 1985, leaving behind unfinished films and unrealized dreams. His influence on cinema remains immeasurable. At number 16, Charlie Chaplin. Films he directed and acted in: The Kid 1921, The Gold Rush 1925, The Circus 1928, City Lights 1931, Modern Times 1936, The Great Dictator 1940, Monsieur Verdoux 1947, Limelight 1952, A King in New York 1957, A Countess from Hong Kong 1967. Chaplin didn't just appear in his films, he was the star, playing his iconic Little Tramp character in most of them. In The Great Dictator, he played dual roles: a Jewish barber and Adenoid Hinkle, a Hitler parody. In Limelight, he played aging comedian Calvero. Chaplin wrote, directed, produced, scored, and starred in his films, controlling every aspect during Hollywood's silent era. He is considered one of the most important figures in film history. Political views led to exile from the U.S. during McCarthyism. He died on Christmas Day 1977 in Switzerland, leaving behind films that defined cinema itself. At number 15, Buster Keaton. Films he directed and acted in: 1 Week 1920, The Boat 1921, Cops 1922, The Electric House 1922, Our Hospitality 1923, Sherlock Jr. 1924, The Navigator 1924, 7 Chances 1925, Go West 1925, Battling Butler 1926, The General 1926, Steamboat Bill Jr. 1928. Keaton starred in all his films as the Great Stone Face, performing death-defying stunts with deadpan expression. In The General, he played a train engineer during the Civil War. In Sherlock Jr., he was a movie projectionist who enters the screen. Keaton performed his own dangerous stunts, including the famous falling house facade scene in Steamboat Bill Jr., where a wall collapsed around him, missing him by inches. He died in 1966 from lung cancer. His physical comedy and innovative camera techniques influenced everyone from Jackie Chan to Steven Spielberg. The General is now considered one of cinema's greatest achievements. At number 14, Woody Allen. Films he directed and acted in: Take the Money and Run, 1969, Bananas, 1971, Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex 1972, Sleeper 1973, Love and Death 1975, Annie Hall 1977, Manhattan 1979, Stardust Memories 1980, Zelig 1983, Broadway Danny Rose 1984, Hannah and Her Sisters 1986, Radio Days 1987. Crimes and Misdemeanors 1989, Manhattan Murder Mystery 1993, Mighty Aphrodite 1995, Deconstructing Harry 1997, Hollywood Ending 2002, To Rome with Love 2012, Café Society 2016, and many more. Allen starred as versions of himself, neurotic, intellectual New Yorkers navigating romance, mortality, and existential dread. His Alvy Singer in Annie Hall became the definitive Allen persona. He released roughly one film per year for decades, directing over 50 films total. Now, at 89, Allen continues making films in Europe after controversy in the US. His latest project filmed in 2025 with tentative 2026 release. He remains prolific despite advanced age and diminished American distribution. At number 13, Clint Eastwood. Films he directed and acted in. Play Misty for Me 1971. High Plains Drifter 1973, The Outlaw Josie Wales 1976, The Gauntlet 1977, Bronco Billy 1980, Firefox 1982, Honky-Tonk Man 1982, Sudden Impact 1983, Pale Rider 1985, Heartbreak Ridge 1986, White Hunter Black Heart 1990, Unforgiven 1992. A Perfect World 1993, The Bridges of Madison County 1995, Absolute Power 1997, True Crime 1999, Space Cowboys 2000, Bloodwork 2002, $1 Million Baby 2004, Gran Torino 2008, The Mule 2018, Cry Macho 2021. Eastwood starred in virtually every film he directed early in his career. As William Money in Unforgiven, he delivered his definitive performance, an aging gunslinger confronting his violent past. In Gran Torino, he played Walt Kowalski, a Korean War veteran facing mortality. In $1 Million Baby, he was boxing trainer Frankie Dunn. Now, at an astonishing 95 years old, Eastwood remains active. His most recent directorial effort was Juror No. 2, 2024, proving that age is irrelevant when you have stories to tell. At number 12, Warren Beatty. Films he directed and acted in. Heaven Can Wait 1978, co-directed with Buck Henry, Reds 1981, Dick Tracy 1990, Bulworth 1998, Rules Don't Apply 2016. Beatty starred as Joe Pendleton in Heaven Can Wait, a quarterback mistakenly taken to heaven. In Reds, he played journalist John Reed during the Russian Revolution, his most ambitious work. In Dick Tracy, he was the square-jawed comic strip detective. In Bulworth, he played a suicidal senator who starts speaking truth. In Rules Don't Apply, he portrayed Howard Hughes. The achievement, along with Orson Welles, Beatty is one of only two people nominated for acting, directing, writing, and producing the same film, and Beatty did it twice, Heaven Can Wait and Reds. Now, at 88, Beatty has largely retired from filmmaking. Rules Don't Apply 2016 was his first film in 15 years and likely his final project. He remains married to Annette Bening with 4 children. At number 11, Mel Gibson. Films he directed and acted in. The Man Without a Face 1993, Braveheart 1995. Gibson played Lieutenant Justin McLeod in The Man Without a Face, a disfigured teacher who mentors a young boy. In Braveheart, he starred as William Wallace leading the Scots in rebellion against England. The performance and direction earned him 2 Oscars, Best Picture and Best Director. After Braveheart's massive success, Gibson focused more on directing without acting. The Passion of the Christ, Apocalypto, then faced career setbacks due to personal issues. Now, at 70, Gibson has experienced a Hollywood comeback. He directed Hacksaw Ridge 2016, earning 6 Oscar nominations, and continues acting in action films. He's currently working on Passion of the Christ, Resurrection, proving his talent transcends controversy. At number 10, Rob Zombie. Films he directed and acted in. All his films feature cameos: House of 1000 Corpses 2003, The Devil's Rejects 2005, Halloween 2007, Halloween 2 2009, The Lords of Salem 2012, 31 2016, 3 from Hell 2019, The Munsters 2022. Zombie typically makes brief cameo appearances in his horror films, often as background characters or voices. His most notable on-screen appearance was in The Devil's Rejects during the film's brutal motel sequence. He started as heavy metal musician with White Zombie before transitioning to filmmaking with a unique, grotesque aesthetic. Now, at 59, Zombie continues balancing music and film careers. He recently directed the Munsters remake and tour with his band, maintaining his position as horror's most distinctive auteur musician. At number 9, Zach Braff. Films he directed and acted in: Garden State 2004, Wish I Was Here 2014. Braff starred as Andrew Largeman in Garden State, a struggling actor who returns home for his mother's funeral and rediscovers himself. The indie hit defined mid-2000s quirky romantic drama. In Wish I Was Here, he played Aidan Bloom, a struggling actor facing family and faith crises. Now, at 49, Braff continues acting and directing, recently appearing in films and television while developing new projects. He occasionally directs theater and maintains a lower profile than his Garden State era, focusing on selected passion projects. At number 8, Terry Gilliam. Films he directed and acted in: Monty Python and the Holy Grail 1975, co-directed Monty Python's Life of Brian 1979, Monty Python's The Meaning of Life 1983, plus cameos in most of his solo films. As a Monty Python member, Gilliam performed in all the Python films he co-directed, playing multiple characters including Patsy in Holy Grail and various roles in Life of Brian and The Meaning of Life. He continued making brief cameo appearances in his solo directorial work. Now, at 84, Gilliam continues fighting to make his ambitious, expensive visions reality. His most recent film was The Man Who Killed Don Quixote 2018, which took 29 years to complete. He remains an active, if frustrated, voice in cinema. At number 7, Sam Raimi. Films he directed and acted in: The Evil Dead 1981, Evil Dead 2 1987, Army of Darkness 1992, plus brief appearances in Darkman 1990, Spider-Man trilogy. In the Evil Dead films, Raimi appeared as hitchhiking fisherman and provided the demonic voice of the Evil Dead itself. His cameos in other films are typically split-second appearances, including a brief moment in Spider-Man 2. Now, at 65, Raimi recently returned to Marvel with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness 2022, bringing his horror sensibilities to the MCU. He continues developing multiple projects, including potential Evil Dead franchise returns. At number 6, M. Night Shyamalan. Films he directed and acted in: Praying with Anger 1992, The Sixth Sense 1999, Unbreakable 2000, Signs 2002, The Village 2004, Lady in the Water 2006, The Happening 2008, The Last Airbender 2010, After Earth 2013, The Visit 2015, Split 2016, Glass 2019, Old 2021, Knock at the Cabin 2023. Shyamalan starred as the lead in his debut Praying with Anger. In The Sixth Sense, he played Dr. Hill, the pediatrician honoring his father's profession. In Signs, he was Ray Reddy, the man who killed Mel Gibson's character's wife. In Lady in the Water, he controversially cast himself as a writer whose work will save humanity. Now, at 55, Shyamalan has rebounded from his career slump with Split, Glass, and Knock at the Cabin. He's reclaimed his master of twist endings crown while continuing his cameo tradition in every film. At number 5, Spike Lee. Films he directed and acted in: She's Gotta Have It 1986, School Days 1988, Do the Right Thing 1989, Mo Better Blues 1990, Jungle Fever 1991, Malcolm X 1992, Crooklyn 1994, Girl 6 1996, He Got Game 1998, Summer of Sam 1999, Bamboozled 2000, 25th Hour 2002, Inside Man 2006, Miracle at St. Anna 2008. Red Hook Summer 2012, Da Five Bloods 2020. Lee played Mars Blackman in She's Gotta Have It, a character he reprised in Nike commercials with Michael Jordan. His most iconic role was Mookie in Do the Right Thing, the pizza delivery guy caught in racial tensions that explode on the hottest day of Brooklyn summer. In Malcolm X, he played an unnamed street hustler. The philosophy: Lee believes in being present in his stories about Black American life and culture, often casting himself in key supporting roles. Now, at 68, Lee remains prolific and politically outspoken. 2018 won him his first competitive Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. Da Five Bloods 2020 further cemented his status as American cinema's conscience. At number 4, Quentin Tarantino. Films he directed and acted in: Reservoir Dogs 1992, Pulp Fiction 1994, Four Rooms 1995, Django Unchained 2012, The Hateful Eight 2015. Tarantino played Mr. Brown in Reservoir Dogs, philosophizing about Madonnas like a virgin. As Jimmy in Pulp Fiction, he delivered the immortal line about "pretty please with sugar on top, clean the car" when Jules and Vincent show up with a dead body. In Django Unchained, he was a LaQuint Dickey mining co-employee who gets blown up. In The Hateful Eight, he briefly narrated. Now, at 62, Tarantino maintains his plan to direct only 10 films before retiring. Currently at 9 films, every future project could be his last. His most recent was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 2019. Film 10 remains one of cinema's most anticipated mysteries. At number 3, Peter Jackson. Films he directed and acted in: Bad Taste 1987, Meet the Feebles 1989, Braindead 1992, The Frighteners 1996. The Lord of the Rings trilogy 2001-2003, King Kong 2005, The Hobbit trilogy 2012-2014. In Bad Taste, Jackson played Derek, one of the alien-fighting protagonists. He starred in his own splatter comedy. In The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, he's the scruffy carrot-eating drunk outside the Prancing Pony in Bree. In The Two Towers, he throws a spear at Helm's Deep. In The Return of the King, he's a corsair of Umbar pirate. He continued his carrot-eating tradition throughout the Hobbit trilogy. Now, at 64, Jackson recently won acclaim for his Beatles documentary Get Back 2021. He's built a production empire in New Zealand and continues championing independent filmmaking while occasionally developing major projects. His Lord of the Rings trilogy remains one of cinema's greatest achievements. At number 2, Martin Scorsese. Films he directed and acted in: Taxi Driver 1976, The King of Comedy 1982, Gangs of New York 2002, Hugo 2011. Scorsese's most chilling performance came in Taxi Driver as a disturbed passenger in Travis Bickle's cab, delivering an unforgettable monologue about murdering his wife. He only took the role because the original actor canceled due to injury. It became one of the film's most memorable scenes. In Gangs of New York, he appeared as a wealthy landowner pickpocketed by Jenny. In Hugo, he played a photographer. Now, at 83, Scorsese continues directing masterpieces. Killers of the Flower Moon 2023 reunited him with Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, proving he's still at the peak of his powers. He's currently developing multiple projects, including a Jesus film, and remains cinema's most vital elder statesman. At number 1, Alfred Hitchcock. Films he directed and acted in. Hitchcock appeared in 39 of his 52 films, including The Lodger 1927, Blackmail 1929, The 39 Steps 1935, Young and Innocent 1937, The Lady Vanishes 1938, Rebecca 1940, Foreign Correspondent 1940, Shadow of a Doubt 1943, Lifeboat 1944, Spellbound 1945, Notorious 1946, Rope 1948. Strangers on a Train 1951, Dial M for Murder 1954, Rear Window 1954, To Catch a Thief 1955, The Man Who Knew Too Much 1956, The Wrong Man 1956, Vertigo 1958, North by Northwest 1959, Psycho 1960, The Birds 1963, Marnie 1964, Torn Curtain 1966, Topaz 1969. Frenzy 1972, Family Plot 1976. In Psycho, he stood outside Marion's office wearing a cowboy hat. In The Birds, he walked 2 dogs out of a pet shop. In North by Northwest, he missed a bus in the opening credits. In Vertigo, he walked past a shipyard. In Rear Window, he wound a clock in the songwriter's apartment. He died of kidney failure on April 29, 1980 in Los Angeles. He revolutionized cinema with psychological thrillers that explored voyeurism, guilt, and obsession. His influence on filmmaking is immeasurable, and his cameo tradition continues to inspire directors worldwide. Which director shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the masters of cinema. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.